so excited that you're all here. Look at Deborah and Trinity. Welcome to my stage. What a beautiful moon day. Welcome to Moon Magic and Mindfulness with Grace. Yay! That's my little theme song. Inspired. Yay! How are you all doing? Mojo is here. Hello, Charlotte. Hello, everybody. Hi, Freddie. Welcome to my stage. Very first time that you join us. Happy that you're all here. It is a brand new week. Nothing but possibilities. So many things in sight. And the full moon happening on Saturday. So we are going to come back on Friday to do that moon ritual experience where we paint live and journal, because that's what the moon ritual is about, at least in my show. We're going to release the fear, release the negativity, release whatever is standing in the way of us and our bright, beautiful future, and the seeds that we planted 2 weeks ago in the new moon, right? They need room to grow. They need air to breathe. So whatever is standing in the way of those manifestations, or however you want to call it, blessings, that's my favorite word, right? Then we're going to release all of that on Friday. As you know, Moon Day episodes are all about setting intentions for your week, strategically planning. How are you doing? And because of the full moon happening on Saturday, which we're going to meet on Friday because it's all the same window of energy, and also Trinity was just in his show talking about Mercury retrograde, which I will also bring up just so that you know and have a very general idea of what it means and how it could show up for you. We're talking about fear today. Ooh. And specifically, what is the fear telling you? What is the fear showing you? Because we don't need to ignore the fear. We don't need to necessarily run away from it. We don't need to necessarily ignore the fear or run away from it. We can really just see it, observe it for what it is, and most importantly, get from it, thank you, get from it a clue as to what we need to be working on, what we need to be looking for. We talked about it earlier because of a conversation that I had this weekend with a client that I see every Saturday. And lots of beautiful things are happening, right? Lots of beautiful changes are coming to pass. And with change comes a lot of fear. Why? Because we love to get comfortable. We love just, the blessing of being comfortable in our surroundings, in our environment. Nobody likes to move. I mean, I've never met anyone who admits that they love packing all of their belongings to move somewhere, like the process of moving, right? Like, of course, the idea of moving somewhere because you want to move, that's great. But do you like the process? I've yet to meet someone that admits that they do. And so with that comes the fear of change, or the fear of the unknown, or just so many fears. But if you think about it, and hello everyone, hello Cecilia, if you think about it, what that fear may be telling you is, well, maybe you should research a little bit about this place that you're moving into. If it's a new city, what should you be looking for? If it's a place that you've never visited before, if it's a new country, you might want to research some of the aspects and to try to think outside the box. Don't just research restaurants and, top entertainment in this city that I am moving to, but, look at all the aspects, best schools, neighborhood ratings, right? And so with the fear of the unknown comes a very set direction of, well, then get to know the place. And then the fear is appeased because you're doing your due diligence, right? You're doing what an adult should do, which is informed and educated decisions, right? Not just being led with just passion, the way a child would, right? So, Mojo is coming up. Let's say hello to Mojo. Hello, my friend. How are you doing? You can come up video. Let me just send you that. Very excited that you're here. Hello, Snoopy. How are you doing?
I am well. How are you, Graciela?
I am so happy that you're here. Tell us about fear.
Yeah, so, instinctually, our brains are wired with this negativity bias that we generally react to fear by fight, flight, freeze. Some people would say fawn, all the F words, right? Usually the F word's the first thing that comes to mind,
That's
fear,
right.
right? OF, right? And so, but that instinctual negativity, which is wired into our brains, comes from a long history of, the history of man, where back in the early years, in the early eras, the dangers were around every corner. There's saber-toothed tigers and quicksand and diseases and mosquitoes and on it went. So if we weren't hyper aware of our environment and had that negativity bias, we might not be having this conversation because our ancestors might not have survived. However, our brains haven't evolved with the times. And so now we've subdued the earth. We have control over most of the threats that are around us, and we are the apex predator, on and on it goes. But our brains are still have that instinctual reactive mode to fear. And like you said, we're drawn towards comfort and we're drawn away from fear. But
That's
almost
right.
everything I've read and my own experience says fear is actually like a Klieg light. It's an alarm system saying, here's the greatest opportunity for growth, right? My instinct says run away, hide, duck and cover, but my going beyond that natural instinctive reaction, my heart and my brain are now telling me, guess what, Joe? Whatever you're most afraid of, this is your greatest opportunity for growth, for learning, for stretching, and overcoming those fears, like facing into them, leaning into them rather than running away, is the only way we'll ever overcome them. You never overcome something by avoiding it. You only
That's
overcome
right.
it by taking it on, learning from it,
Mhm.
and then when you overcome it, suddenly the fear doesn't have the power it once did.
Yes. Ugh. Why are we giving it so much power? Right?
Exactly.
And I
Giving away
feel
our
like,
power. Yeah.
yes, yes. And I feel like okay, so in my experience, when I avoid something, it just keeps coming up. And then I'm avoiding it again and again and again and again and again and again. And then the worst thing that happens with this process is the shame that
Mm.
comes from avoiding something, which we don't really talk a lot about shame. We could do a whole show about shame. This is not it because we're talking about fear, so I'll take it one thing at a time, right?
Yes.
But
Good idea.
yeah, but it really becomes something very intense that tends to really uh, set really big obstacles in how we want to progress and move forward. And so my goal is for everyone, all of us, to acknowledge these things so that we can start removing those blocks, removing those barriers, because we all deserve, the beautiful life that we want or that we imagine or that we say that we are looking forward. So, yeah, are you going to sing?
I can. Yeah. I got a moon song for you, as you know, if you like that.
Yes, I want to hear the moon song. And hello, Kathy.
Well, it's
What
a
is it?
marvelous night for a moon dance with the stars up above in your eyes. A fantabulous night to make romance neath the cover of October skies. And all the leaves on the trees are falling to the sound of the breezes that blow. I'm trying to please to the calling of your heartstrings that play soft and low. The night's magic seem to whisper and hush. The soft moonlight seems to shine, bum, 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 in your blush. Can I just have one more moon dance with you, my love? Can I just make some more romance with you, my love? Yeah.
I have to jump in with the guitar solo. Oh my
Love it,
gosh.
love it.
Thank you so much, Mojo. You were actually frozen for the whole time that you were singing, but your voice was beautiful. So thank
All
you.
right.
I
Well, I
just want
sound better. I sound better than I look anyway, so that's perfect.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you for sharing. And I'm so grateful that you're here. And stick around if you please, if you want, if you feel
I absolutely
comfortable.
will.
We're
I'm
going to
here.
keep talking about this fear and try to unravel some of it.
Great.
Thank
Love
you.
it.
Thank you so much. All right, everybody. So, let's talk about the week and what you are hoping to create and what may be standing in the way. It's really, oh, Cecilia says, love you, Mojo. Yeah, yeah. Um, Thank you, Cecilia. And we love you. And we're so excited that you're here as well. So, fear of, we've talked about it before and we're going to talk about it often. Most of the people in this platform may be content creators, and at the end of the day, we're all creating content. Even if you are not online creating content, you're creating the beautiful life that you deserve. And whatever is in front of you is content. So considering that we're all content creators, then just know that everything we say in this show applies to you as well, even if you don't have a social media account or a social media business. And here's the thing: when we don't put things out there, it's because of the fear of what? Fear of it not being well received, fear of people criticizing, fear of it not landing at all. Like sometimes I put things on social media and it's like what happened? It's like nobody got it, right? Fear of being judged. That probably happens all the time. When you're making decisions around your day, are you making decisions based on what you want or what someone else might say about what you're doing? The clothes that you're putting on your back, how your car looks versus how you want it to look. I don't know. I'm just thinking off the top of my head, right? Are you living for appearances? That's it, right? For the fear of being judged or not being liked or fear of gossip, right? Or are you living authentically? Are you being true to yourself despite the fear? Are you putting your efforts out there? See where they land. They will land where they land. If it resonates, great. If it doesn't, I put it out there anyway, right? That is the goal. That is doing the thing despite the fear. That's confidence. And hello, Chris, and hello, Ron. Thank you for joining us. We're talking about fear, and you've heard me say it before. You'll hear me say it again. The fear of judgment, the fear of not being good enough. Ooh, that's another one, right? How many times do we not do something that we really want to do because we are already judging the result, right? It's like Kathy. Kathy was here a few weeks ago and she mentioned that she's always wanted to write a book, right? So, Kathy, if I may, I'm going to use you as an example, even though I could really use myself because I've been writing a book forever, right? So, it's like I'm going to write the book, but at the same time, I'm not going to write the book because I'm already scared, afraid of, when the book comes out, no one's going to read it. Well, how do you know that? How do you know that if you don't write the book, publish it, put it out there, put it in someone's hand and then wait to see what happens? Right? So you are really just cutting all the possibilities, shooting yourself in the foot, essentially, right? By not taking the step to see what happens. That's the beauty of it. So many possibilities, infinite possibilities, but if you don't do it at all, then what happens to the possibilities? They just disappear, right? They're not there to begin with. So, taking that first step, despite the fear, doing it anyway, do it intentionally, even if it's imperfect. I took a seminar once, a 1 week branding course over on Facebook a long time ago, even before I launched my coaching business. And this coach, I forget her name right now, Michelle something, she has this acronym, FISA, FISA, fast, imperfect, strategic, action. So do it even if it's imperfect, right? Do it quick, but do it anyway. Strategize about it. You all know I love that word, strategy, right? It's like without a strategy, my life would fall apart, right? Because I'm very strategic about everything. And this is what I coach people through. How can you look at your life strategically, especially if you're a highly sensitive empath? Because lots of boundaries need to be put in place, right? And thank you so much for sharing this with the world. I appreciate that. And thank you to everyone watching on YouTube Live. So grateful for you. So, this is what this conversation is going to be about today, and then again on Friday when we meet together to go deeper into the fear discussion, because for the full moon, we are releasing. We are setting the intention that we want to let go of the fear. I am letting go of the fear that my book is not going to get published. No, my book is getting published. My book is going to get picked up by a great publisher. My book is going to be a bestseller on Amazon, right? Like you set these intentions, but first we let go of the fear. Thank you. I saw that landed. Thanks so much. First you let go of the fear to then plant the seeds. You prime the soil. Think of the fear as that soil that has a ton of rocks in it. And you might want a few rocks in it for, drainage purposes or whatever. You might want some rocks in there because that's just a healthy balance. But if it's covered in rocks, you want to remove some of those to prime the soil for your seeds to grow in. And so the seeds, we're going to plant them again in the new moon. But in the full moon, it's really about priming the soil, releasing the blockages. And sometimes in that conversation of releasing the blockages, you might realize that there are certain relationships that need to be reconsidered so that you can fly, so that you can be free of negativity, so that you can really be yourself authentically, right? So that's also part of this conversation. What are the relationships that are getting in your way, that are really stopping you from flourishing the way that you want to flourish? I've been very open about my, very unfortunate, what's the word? Very unfortunate mix up, if you want to call it that, right? With domestic violence and toxic abuse. So, what are the relationships that are not allowing you to flourish and to be yourself? Let them go. And if there's something in between you and letting it go, like a fear of not surviving, or a fear of never being loved by anyone else, or a fear of never making it on my own, then you want to be able to acknowledge that fear, right? That's also part of the whole thing, right? You have to acknowledge the fear in order to journal about it. Otherwise, you're just making it up. So you want to acknowledge the fear, look at it for what it is, which is not that big of a deal. Once you start strategizing, once you realize that there's plenty of people in your life who want to help you, once you realize that you are capable, smart, successful, and that you can do things all on your own. And so the whole ritual experience just becomes this real energetic bubble where we all come together in the same energy to support each other, right? This is what I love about community building, is that we are not just all here, to listen to Mojo or to listen to me. You're showing up for yourself, right? We were talking about this earlier as well, because you want to set intentions for the week, because you want to be strategic about your life, because you have fears that you want to release. And so this is what Moon Magic and Mindfulness is all about. And I'm so excited that you're here. And it's almost already 10:30. And here's the thing about Moon Days, yay, our Monday episodes, is that it's a shorter episode where we go straight into a conversation, but at the same time, no pressure if you don't want to come up to talk about your fears. It's so interesting because during the new moon, everybody wants to share their intentions, and it's so wonderful. And then during the full moon, it's a bit more of a quiet episode, right? Because fear is very intense. Oh, hello, Martha. Thank you for being here. Martha Barsha is in the room. So, Martha, for the benefit, yes, thank you. She totally deserves a clap. You all do. We're talking about fears, and you're so wise that I wonder what you would have to say about it. Probably nothing short of, encouraging to letting us all know that there's just no point, and that we all have the ability to create a beautiful life. You did it, Barsha did it, we everyone in this room is doing such amazing things. Chris Rossetti, your show is so wonderful here on Fireside. I can't remember right now how many episodes, but I think it's like 160 episodes. Cecilia Grace is celebrating 160 episodes of her. Kudos to you. And it's just so amazing to see how we are all, yes, how we are all moving that wheel forward and doing things despite the fear, right? So that's the topic of the week, everyone. Fear. And what is it telling you? So Mojo, let us know or reiterated what I meant about looking at fear straight in the face, not making it a thing. Oh, that's a big one. Are you making it a thing, or are you just being objective and approaching it with perspective? Perspective is a value, it's a strength, and it takes practice to look at things with perspective as opposed to looking at them with a grip, right? And the way a child would, with passion and with a full on commitment that kind of just blinds us sometimes. And sometimes that passion can be very productive, right? And so that's great. And other times that passion can be very blinding in the negative way. And then we just act out of passion, right? Donika mentioned earlier the healthy ego, right? Versus the ego just acting out. So are you letting your fears propel you forward? Or are you simply sitting there and letting the fear be the one behind the wheel, right? I posted about this on my Twitter the other day as well. Is your soul the one behind the wheel, or is it your limiting beliefs that are directing the show, right? Driving the car. And looking at things with perspective means asking those questions. And then, of course, journaling about it or thinking about the answers. You don't just want to ask the question and let it be. Oh, yeah, that's great, Graciela. Thanks so much for the question. That's a great tweet. Let me retweet it. No, please take a moment to ponder the answer as it applies to your life. That's the thing. Otherwise, are you really moving forward? Are you really moving that wheel along so that you can progress? Progress is one of the words this year, right? Progress, collaboration, these are some of the words that my followers voted on at the beginning of the year when I posted a tweet about, or a post on Instagram about, what's the word of the year? Vote, send your word. I want to know them all, right? So that we can then, strategize about them. And collabs, collaboration, and progress were some of the words mentioned, right? So are you moving that wheel forward just little by little? 1% every day. You're going to hear me talk about the same things. Why? Because these are the things that matter, and we all need a reminder. And me being here very conscious about reminding you is also reminding me. Oh, and I don't know if you saw, but let me just remind you of this, because I journaled about what's happening in this Friday's episode on a new moon months ago, when we were planting intentions, planting seeds, and, manifesting or calling blessings in. I journaled about my guest coming to my show, looking my way, paying attention to my account and my moon groups. Right? I journaled literally Rami Astro's name on my journal months ago, and now he's my guest on my show this Friday. And I am so excited. This is an astrophotographer who spends literally all day and night talking to the moon and taking pictures of all the planets. And just, he has like 20, well, I don't know if it's 20. We're going to find out on Friday, but he has a ton of telescopes, and it's just so amazing. And to me, it's a real testament, not that this works essentially, like we don't need to call it that, oh, my moon rituals work, but what works is setting the intention and doing whatever it takes to get there, right? As long as it's safe and for the highest good of all, right? I want safety above all, excuse me. So I'm so excited. It's going to be a real honor and treat to see Rami Astro here with us. And thank you, Ron. Thank you so much. And so, if anyone wants to come up to talk about your fears, you may. And if not, we're going to go straight into the meditation. Or you could also just come up to say hello, and to tell me about an experience of a fear that you may have had, and then what did you do to overcome it. That would be a great, what's the word, great hope for all the listeners. Chris Rossetti's show, it's about overcoming depression, right? Free to laugh now after 30 years of depression. He is already free from all of that. And it's just wonderful to see how encouraging his show is. And it makes me wonder, Chris, if there ever was a fear that you really just overcame and got over and you did it anyway. And sometimes even these episodes may be something that it's like, oh my gosh, I have to go live now. And it's a bit scary, isn't it? I mean, it is for me. It's like every single Monday, I wonder, like, oh my gosh, tonight is the night. Hi, Ron. How are you doing, sir?
I'm
Welcome.
doing fantastic.
Great. What would you like to share?
I would like to share. I don't want my Bluetooth stick. Can you hear me?
Yes,
Okay. Can I share something that I was fearful of years ago?
of course.
Okay, and I'll talk about how I overcame it. So,
Yes.
when I was really little, when we go to like a local fair, there would be like a roller coaster, a small roller coaster, and it freaked me out. I didn't like it. And so I completely ignored going to any kind of huge theme parks or at least getting on roller coasters until I was finally 16 with a group. And I said, okay, listen, I can't keep doing this. They went on one and I didn't go on it, and it felt weird. It felt like I was um, third wheel or whatever. So I made myself get on one that went upside down, the next one, and I loved it. And it was like the greatest feeling of just being bold. I mean, being brave, being courageous enough to say, hey, I'll get on one if I don't like it. Because it's been years and it wasn't even a proper roller coaster, the one I got on. So it was just a great feeling to know that not only did I conquer my fear, but I found something I absolutely adored. And it's so much fun. And I still ride them to this day. So that's my little story.
Yes, I love that. Thank you so much. So, yes, you didn't even realize that you were missing out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yay, thank you. Thanks so much. Thank you. So, missing out is huge. And we can also talk about the fear of missing out because we all experience it. And I did
Yes.
blog about it a few weeks ago, how I
Hmm.
heard someone share in a Twitter space about, the joy of missing out versus the fear of missing out. So we can get to that. But first, I would like to acknowledge you and riding roller coasters, which I know is very scary, and I love roller coasters as well. Not everyone in my
Awesome.
family feels the same, but every time I get scared about a roller coaster, this is what I picture.
Hmm.
I picture my 84-year-old grandmother, who now is a bit older than that, and her riding one of the biggest roller coasters here in SeaWorld at 84 years old. So when I
No
look,
way.
yes, and there's pictures and she's like
That is
this and it's like
awesome.
amazing. I know. It's such an amazing memory to have shared with her. And so it's it's if I see a roller coaster and I'm scared, I just think about my grandma and I get over it. I'm like, just
That's
do it. Just do
exactly.
it. So thank you. Thank you so much. And of course. And now we're going to hear from Martha. Welcome, Martha. How are you doing tonight? And what would you like to
I'm
share?
doing very nicely. Thank you for acknowledging me.
Of
I
course.
speaking. I was on with Deborah, and Deborah said we got to go on and support you. So here I
Oh,
am.
thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. Oh, I love you so much.
Well, fears kind of protect you. Sometimes you're going to do something that you fear and you should fear it. So you're protecting yourself. Sometimes fears stop you from achieving and keeps you isolated more. But I've always had a fear, and I even have it right now, of speaking in public. So I tried to get rid of it by taking courses in college of speech. But I
Mhm.
still, after I had gotten married, when I would get up to speak, my heart would beat very quickly. Right now, I have a little bit of that, but not as. And then Deborah got me on this wisdom, and
Right.
I found it a little easier to speak. And so that I overcame some of my fears. Now that I'm 86 years old, I still have a little bit of fear, but now I can get up and speak where I was unable to do that. So I got rid of some of the fear by going straight up to the fear and conquer it.
Yes. Just doing it anyway.
And congratulations on your fireside,
Thank
uh,
you.
whatever you call it.
Yes, of course. Thank you. Thank you so much, Martha. And, congratulations to you because I've heard you speak on the Wisdom app numerous times, and I would never have guessed that you have a fear of public speaking because your eloquence and your cadence in speaking is so elegant and so good that I just want to, give you that because it is truly beautiful what you come to the Wisdom app to share with Deborah. So I want to thank you for all of the time that you spend and all of the beautiful personal stories that you share. Thank you for that.
Yeah, congratulations.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much. I'm so happy that you're here. And so stick around. Now your daughter's coming up. Yay! Hello, Deborah.
I am going to hello, a mom that was beautiful. I'm going to admit, I think my mother knows this, but because we just traveled together, but I really have a fear of flying, and it's an irrational fear. It's ridiculous. I know it. I still doesn't make sense to me that the thing goes up there with all that weight, and I just have this irrational fear. So, whenever I go through turbulence and stuff, I had to ask my mother, "Can you hold my hand?" Um, and I'm not a person that's afraid of roller coasters or anything like that. There's just something very strange about a plane. I can't do, and I didn't used to be like this. This happened just very recently. I doesn't bother me when I'm on like flights to Japan. What I do when I flew to Japan was like I got on and I thought, okay, I live here. This is my new apartment. I've just moved here. I have to like I have to trick my mind. Anyway,
Right.
that's my
Yes,
fear.
no, that's a great fear. And I would like to discuss the way that my nervousness happens in planes comes or stems from the movies that I have watched about plane disasters. And so, as a highly sensitive empath with a very visual, photographic imagination, when I am in that plane, it's like I'm reliving the movie and all the tragedy that happened. Or the episodes in freaking Grey's Anatomy where the plane always crashes. It's the worst. And so I get really nervous and I it's like I don't take a deep breath until we land and it's like, "Oh, now I can breathe. Okay, we made it. What a miracle. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you." Right? And so you're not the only one with a fear of flying. I feel like a lot of people do. Ooh, and my father had a fear of flying as well. He didn't get into an airplane until he was 40
That was
something
like
ever
my
in his
father.
life.
My father didn't get in an airplane until really late in life, too.
Hmm.
I know.
Yes, and Ron says that it's not irrational. He completely understands, and there's a lot of people in Puerto Rico that go a whole lifetime without ever getting in a plane. So it's not. It's you're not the only one. These are big machines, and we are tiny people, and so I feel like it's almost biological to kind of be afraid of that big thing, right? kind of like the chain of, what do we call it? The
Yeah.
science, the chain of
So,
whatever.
but it's so funny. I sat one day I was in a plane, and in the middle seat, this man, and I started to get nervous, and I told him I'm going to get nervous, and I said, what do you do for a living? I work for JetBlue, and I was on a JetBlue plane. I said, well, what do you do? He goes, I'm a pilot. I'm actually flying this plane. He said, I'm flying this plane to your destination, which was New York, and then I'm going to fly it back to Miami, where I was.
Mm.
And I said, what? I'm sitting next to the pilot that is going to fly this plane next? He said, yes. I said, would you explain the plane to me? That's what I did with my fear. And he said to me, I will tell you when it's dangerous on the liftoff, and I'll show you how quickly the danger passes. Because there's only a few seconds of danger when you're lifting off, and there's only a few sections of danger when you land. I will tell you when they are. And it was so fleeting and so small that it really did help. So, what I do sometimes when I'm afraid, I do reach out. I do say, I need help, you know?
Hmm. Well, yes, and you got curious and you asked questions. So you just proved what I was talking about a few minutes ago, which is, fear of the unknown, fear of change. All it takes is an educated decision. But to make an educated decision, you have to educate yourself, to research, to find out, to get curious. How does this work? Tell me how it works, because once I know how it works, it's like when you're at the dentist. Oh, and you ask, like, wait a minute, tell me what you're going to do first and where, and then I'll open my mouth. That's what happens to me. It's like, don't just come at me with that huge syringe before you're going to put anesthesia in my mouth. I want to know exactly where it's going, and I want you to tell me when I'm going to feel the pinch, because otherwise I'm like grabbing the chair, right? And so an educated decision, researching about it, it just really changes the whole panorama. And sometimes fear can be very productive in that way, like Martha was saying. So thank you so much, Deborah, for proving my point and for illustrating so beautifully. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. So now we're going to hear from Melanie. Hi, Melanie. How are you doing? You're muted, just so you know. We're waiting for Melanie. Melanie, are you there? All right, let's check in on Melanie.
I did it. I did it.
Oh,
Hello.
yeah. Okay. Hi. Hello.
Hi. I'm glad I caught the show. I fell asleep for a little bit and I looked at the time. I'm
Oh,
like, hopefully I can get on.
oh, thank
Um
you for being here.
anyway, anyway, with the topic of fear and the things that people have been fearful of, I think that I think one of the main core essential, components to fear is things that we cannot control. So, like airplanes, we cannot control. We are at the volition of others. Roller coasters, we cannot control. You know what I mean? A doctor who is doing something inside our mouth, we cannot control. So, we are putting, our trust and our uncertainties into things that we just don't have control over. And the fear of uncertainty is something that is something that's definitely correlated to control, because you don't know how the outcome is going to be, because you have no, you're not the captain of, you're not the pilot, you're not the doctor. When we do things that we're in control of, it gives us more of a sense of security. But when we're at the volition of others, we are in fear. And I get it. I experience it all the time.
Right.
That's all I wanted to share. And tell you to have
Yes.
a great night.
Yes. Well, thank you so much. Tomorrow is such a big day for you. I'm so honored that you would come to the show anyway, because I know that you have to wake up early. Tomorrow, Melanie is joining a second grade classroom, and I'm so excited. Second graders are so cute. First grade to third grade, I feel like they're the most magical years, because it's like they're still babies, but not really. So I'm so
Yeah, and they're
excited for
funny
you.
too.
Yes,
Thank
yes,
you. Thank you.
of
But you know what?
course.
That's fear too. Because I have no idea what I'm walking into. You know what I mean? A new thing. So yeah. excitement can also produce fear, you know. But thank you so much. It's really nice of you to say.
Of
And I hope
course.
you have a good night,
Yes.
everybody.
Yes, you too, Melanie. And I hope you join us on Friday for the full moon episode or rendition of this episode, which is when we're going to paint and do all the things live. So thank you for being here and thank you for joining the conversation. And, to what you just said, I would love to also reiterate that the whole thing about fear, because we cannot control it, right? So it happens as well with not putting things out there because we cannot control the outcome. Like a song, you don't know who's going to receive it well or not. You don't know if it's going to land again. A blog post, you don't know if this makes sense. If you're a writer, you I might go to my husband and be like, can you read this for me, because I was inspired, but I wrote it so quick that I don't even know if that makes sense. And I keep reading it and it makes sense to me, but does it make sense to you? Right? Like we go in circles. We go in circles. And the thing is that if we don't put it out there, which is what we can control, I can only control the action of putting my content out there. I cannot control how many likes I get, how many shares I get. I can't even control you all showing up, right? So I just do my part. I do my part and I make sure that my intentions are well established and that my heart is in the right place. That's all I can control, right? If for some reason my intention is not well received or misunderstood, then I need to step a little further into, well, now I need to damage control or make a decision or reevaluate my strategy, right? So if you get to the point where you are misunderstood or it flip the table, the shoe drops, however you want to call it, right? Then another fear comes up, which is the fear of confrontation, the fear of abandonment, all of these fears, right? And so again, you have to think about, well, now I'm faced with this other fear. What can I control in this situation now? Right? And if it's damage control, well, I can control doing this or that, or I can control stepping away, or I can control retracting what I posted or what I said, or I can control apologizing, right? Letting people know that I didn't mean it, however you want to call it. But we can only, we should only focus on what we can control, because what we cannot control is useless in our brain. And our brain is precious real estate, right? And when we let go of the things that we cannot control, we make room for great ideas. We make room for more things to happen, more blessings to come. And this takes practice, and this takes repetition, and this takes reminders. And so that's what I'm here for, to remind you weekly of the things that could be getting in your way that you may need a reminder about. And as you know, this show is not scripted. This show is just, I do think about the topic beforehand, but none of it is scripted. So I want to thank you all for coming, not just to support me or to show up for me, but for showing up for yourself, to think about, what fear have I already overcome? And of course, if you don't want to share about a current fear in your life, which you'll have another chance to do so on Friday, then at least you ponder about it, which I know some of what I am saying may resonate in a way that hopefully will help you. Because the point of these types of conversations, at least in moon magic and mindfulness with grace, is about doing things in community, supporting each other, being there for each other, because we don't have to do things alone, right? I've been through things on my own and I don't like it any more than you do. So this is part of why I do the things that I do in the way that I do them, right? So that we all know that we have each other. We don't have to do things on our own. So Thank you all for being here. We're going to go ahead and start our meditation. So, thank you for coming. Martha, it's your first time on my show. Deborah, you as well. So, just get comfortable and, feet on the ground if you're sitting. Melanie, if you want to lay down and drift into sleep, you're more than welcome to. I definitely do recommend that you try this breath work so that you can be in full relax mode before your big day tomorrow. Music is brought to you by Brain FM, as you know, and you can check them on my link tree, which is in the fortune cookie. All of my links are there. You can buy me a tea. You can join the newsletter. Please do. I feature a poet every week, and this week's poem is about patience. And it's just wonderful. You get to see my agenda and everything else. And we have also featured guest bloggers like MoJOE sometimes. MoJOE, we should collaborate again so that you have another blog post on my newsletter. All right, so thank you all. Go ahead and get comfortable. We're going to do 3 repetitions of very deep and intentional breath work. And the point of doing that is to activate your vagus nerve, VAGUS, vagus nerve. And the sole purpose of your vagus nerve, which is right here. Ooh, Peter, you're just in time for the meditation, so please sit back and enjoy. The sole purpose of your vagus nerve is to regulate your blood pressure and bring you back to baseline. So you can do this when you're stressed. You can do this when your heart is racing in the middle of an argument. You can do this when your heart is racing in the middle of an anxiety attack. If you struggle with anxiety, such as me, I have been breathing intentionally for over a decade because I was very intentional about wanting to manage my anxiety without medication. So it's been a journey trying to learn about breath work and to understand how I can use it to my advantage, not just to take a deep breath here and there, but to actively, reset my body and bring it back down. So, feet on the ground, we're going to do 3 repetitions of that, and then we're going to overcome some fears and let them go. So, we're going to put this on meditation, on guided, and then we're going to change the genre. And honestly, I'm not sure if you can hear this because I unfortunately haven't been able to set my equipment, but I'm working on it. There's some cables coming, and everything should be ready by Friday. So we'll see if it works. But if you can't hear the birds, then just relax and focus your attention on your normal breathing. Steady in, steady out. Nowhere to go, nothing to do. Just be here, now. And with me, you're going to take a deep breath in, nice and slow. Deep, deep, deep. All the way in. Fill those lungs. Hold it at the top. 1, 2, 3, 4. And breathe out. Slow, slow, slow. Breathe out all the way to the end. Hold it again. 1, 2, 3, 4. And breathe in again. Deep, 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 deep breath in. Fill those lungs. Hold it at the top. 1, 2, 3, 4, and let it go. Nice and slow breath out. And with your eyes closed, and with your steady breath, you're going to imagine that you are in a field of dandelions. Can you see them? All the little puffs right above the ground. So many dandelions. A field of possibilities, a field of dreams, and all of the fears that inevitably show up because there's opposition in everything, and that's okay. And for every intention, for every dandelion that represents a project or an idea or something that you want to bring to life, there's a dandelion that represents all of the things standing in your way. And so you're going to make 2 bouquets. One dandelion on your left, all the intentions you want to set, all the things you want to do this week, appointments, deadlines, shows, interviews. One dandelion for each. And on your right, all of the things standing in the way, negativity, limiting beliefs, the fear of not being good enough, the fear of not being worthy enough, the fear of failure, the fear of rejection, and all of those dandelions on the right. You're going to grab all of them at once. And you're going to take a deep breath in, deep, 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 all the way in. Just fill those lungs. Hold it at the top. 1, 2, 3, 4, and let it go. Blow those dandelions and see all of those fears just blow away into the air. No longer there. No longer this beautiful, fluffy thing that you could stare at all day. They're just gone. And see how they just fly away. See how they just float away in the current of air. And hold on to the dandelions on your left. Those are the ones you want to come home with. Those are the ones you may want to blow on precious soil to watch new ones grow. Your plans, your intentions, your goals. You're creating such beautiful things. Let go of the fear and do it anyway. And you look around and you take in all of the beauty, all of the precious, precious gift of nature and life. Bring your awareness to your hand. Place your hand on your heart. and think to yourself, I am ready to take the next step. I am willing to educate myself about my fear. And I am setting an intention today to decide if I am going to let it go or make it a thing. And maybe you're not ready to let it go. Maybe today it's good enough to just acknowledge it, to know that it's there, and to set an intention of not giving it any more power. Use your fear. Let it fuel your desire. If you're afraid of not being good enough, then maybe you need to do a little more research or practice or try it differently. And with your hand in your heart, just remember you are so loved. I am so blessed. I am so ready to tackle tomorrow, tackle this week, and to do my best, whatever that means for you. With me, you're going to take one last deep breath in. So deep, 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 just nice and slow, deep breath. Hold it at the top. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let it go nice and slow. Slow breath out. All the way out. All the way. Hold it again. 1, 2, 3, 4. And breathe in again. Deep, 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 deep breath in. Nice and slow. Hold it at the top. 1, 2, 3, 4. And let it go. All the way. And if you feel the need to gasp, it's okay. Just gasp. Just breathe normal. And notice how it settles you. How you melt into this moment and decide right now that it's going to be a beautiful week. Because it already is. It already was a beautiful day, and I'm so grateful that you joined me and all of us. And so grateful that you keep showing up for yourself to do whatever it takes so that you can keep doing whatever you want to do. So thank you all for being here. I hope it is a productive week and a joyous week at that. Peter, I'm trying to see your message, but I don't see your message. Oh, you said thank you. Okay. Yes. So thank you all. Thank you for being here. I hope you are awake, and if not, then that's good. One of the best, what's the word? Feedbacks on my meditations is that people fall asleep because there's, you get Thank you, Ron. I'm glad to see you're still awake. Mojo, are you still with us? Mojo was on the what's the word? Thank you. Thank you for that. Mojo was on the stage and he had the mic. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yes, thank you so much. I'm so happy that you're here. Thank you, Cecilia, for your hearts and thank you for your claps. That's it for today. This is Moon, Magic and Mindfulness with Grace. This is our conversation every Monday. We will be back Friday at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 7 p.m. for those in Pacific Time, to discuss the full moon in Pisces. And it's going to be very interesting because it's like, this is reality. And the question is going to be, are you in the water, just floating about, just, going with the flow and not necessarily strategizing and doing what you need to do? Or are you up in the air, dreaming, wishing upon stars, and again, not doing what you need to do, right? So we want to be leveled. So we're going to talk about that on Friday. And most importantly, we're going to journal some of the fears that we want to release. And then we're going to paint over it like that moon right there that's been sitting on my wall since March. Strawberry moon. So thank you all for being here. I appreciate you all so much. If you would like to book a call with me or buy me a tea or find my newsletter, all of the links are in the fortune cookie, so you can find it. Join the Hope Enthusiast Club newsletter. It will be my pleasure to share all of the goodies with you. And thank you. Thank you again for being here. I love you, and I hope you have a wonderful night. Thank you, Melon. Thank you for being here. Bye, everyone. Bye.